Without shadow, light loses meaning. Brightness alone blinds. Contrast reveals. The world is not built from clarity, but from the dance between what shines and what stays quiet. Every beam of light needs a place to rest, and that place is shadow. We spend much of life trying to escape darkness. We treat sadness as interruption, fear as mistake, pain as punishment. But what if these aren't intruders? Only quieter parts of the same song. The melody of existence needs both major and minor keys. Without depth, there's no resonance. Without shadow, no shape. Shadow is not the absence of light. It's its echo. It's the record of where light has been. The memory of illumination passing through form. Every object that glows creates its own quiet twin. Proof that radiance and obscurity coexist. To deny shadow is to flatten the world. To accept it is to see truth in dimension. Sadness, too, is dimension. It reminds us that we feel. It draws tenderness out of us, stretches empathy to fit our own pain and that of others. Joy without sorrow is fragile, a surface with no roots. But joy that has walked through darkness knows how to stay. Darkness teaches what brightness forgets. It slows us down. It forces reflection. It removes distraction until only essence remains. Under harsh light, everything shouts. In shadow, things whisper. And whispering is how wisdom enters. When we face our shadows, we meet the unpolished parts of ourselves. The fears we hid, the anger we mislabeled as strength, the grief we tried to compress into productivity. Shadow work is not punishment, it's intimacy with our own truth. It's the art of standing near pain without turning away. The Japanese aesthetic of Yugen describes this beautifully. The subtle beauty of the unseen, the emotional depth that hides in mist and dusk. It suggests that mystery is not something to solve, but something to honor. Shadow makes space for that mystery. It's what gives beauty its pulse, what gives simplicity its soul. Every calm surface hides a history of storms. Peace isn't the absence of struggle. It's the balance born after the tide recedes. When we understand this, we stop worshiping light as victory and begin respecting darkness as teacher. Shadow doesn't compete with light. It defines it. Together, they tell the story of contrast, of tension turned into harmony. When grief arrives, it paints everything dim, but even then, light still exists, filtered, softer, patient. It waits inside the very thing that hurts. The heart may ache, but the ache itself is proof that love once lived there. Shadow and love are closer than we think. Both hold what light alone cannot bear. Sometimes we fear sadness because we confuse it with failure. But sadness is often the body's way of saying, pause, I'm still processing what mattered. It's how the spirit exhales after holding too much brightness. We are not meant to stay in shadow, but we are meant to learn from it, to rest there long enough to understand its language. a language made of patience, of soft returns, of humility before mystery. The most beautiful light is never constant. It flickers, fades, bends through cloud and leaf. It accepts interruption as part of its nature. We should too. Our emotions, like light, shift across the hours, sometimes radiant, sometimes dim, always alive. There is no wrong hue in the spectrum of feeling, only moments of balance waiting to happen. Shadow teaches us proportion, when to act, when to wait, when to speak, when to stay silent. It helps us notice contrast, to sense that joy feels brighter after loss, that calm feels deeper after chaos. Shadow sharpens gratitude. It reminds us that peace isn't permanent, it's practiced. Even creation relies on shadow. A photograph without contrast is flat. A painting without darkness has no depth. A room without shadow feels sterile. The human heart is no different. Our depth comes from where the light has struggled to reach. That struggle becomes texture, and texture becomes beauty. Light and shadow don't fight. They complete each other. They are not opposites. They are collaborators. Each gives the other meaning. Light needs shadow to prove it exists. Shadow needs light to remember it belongs. Together, they form the language of wholeness. One side seen, the other felt. If this moment brought you calm, stay a while. Subscribe, and let this space remind you that peace is not constant brightness, but balance in motion. Every day, we return here to breathe, to soften the edges of light and dark, and to remember the same hand that casts a shadow is the one that holds the flame.
This is Form Within Mind, where calm takes shape.